Today, let's talk about the power that comes from the pursuit of wisdom. Now, I'm going to give you lots of examples of wisdom today by some of the most brilliant minds in human history. But let me start off by giving you a Socrates quote, which is, "True wisdom comes when we realize how little we really understand about our life, about ourselves, and about the world around us." In other words, wisdom is born from a deep curiosity that never leaves you. Einstein said, "Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it." Now, there's a big difference between knowledge that you might learn in school and wisdom, because knowledge is knowing what to say, but wisdom comes from knowing when to say it. I love this quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes about listening. "It is the province of knowledge to speak, and it is the privilege of wisdom to listen." The Dalai Lama said, "When you talk, you're only repeating what you already know, but if you listen, you may learn something new." So let me share some words of wisdom with you. Another piece of wisdom other than listening centers around integrity, and that is to always do the right thing even when nobody's watching. Wisdom is recognizing that sometimes the hardest battles in your life are in your own mind, when you're deciding to do something in your head versus what you feel is right in your heart. Wisdom comes from having the courage to stand up for what's right even if you're standing alone. Wisdom is realizing that life's lessons are going to repeat themselves until they're learned. Wisdom is tempering your reactions to things that happen to you and not letting your emotions overpower your reactions. Like Henry David Thoreau said, "It's the characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things." Wisdom is knowing that managing your internal dialogue is critical, that recognizing what you say to yourself and into your own mind is either going to build you up or it's going to tear you down. Carlos Sonata said, "We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same." Wisdom is recognizing that, like Churchill said, the only thing to fear is fear itself, the emotion of fear. Wisdom is recognizing you can't tap into courage without first allowing yourself to be vulnerable. An incredible power in vulnerability. Wisdom is recognizing that you can't always control what's happening around you, but you can control the meaning you place on it. And then you can control how you respond to it. Wisdom is recognizing the incredible freedom and happiness that comes from having the courage to let go of the things you can't change. Wisdom is working to become free from the opinion of others. Wisdom's recognizing that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Wisdom is realizing that the nicest outfit you can wear is one of self-confidence. Wisdom comes when you realize that the wisest men and women make their own decisions instead of being led by public opinions. The wise realize that if they can't be kind, they should be silent. Wisdom's knowing that the negative emotions of anxiety and stress and depression show up when you're trying to please other people. Wisdom comes from operating from your heart. Like Charles Dickens said, there's a wisdom of the head and a wisdom of the heart. Wisdom also comes from self-acceptance and self-love. Dickens also said, "A loving heart is the truest wisdom." Wisdom is realizing that every day may not be a great day, but there's always greatness in every day. Wisdom is realizing that there's no shortcut to anything amazing in life. Wisdom is also realizing that a wise man or woman can change their mind, but a fool never can. You develop your knowledge by learning, but wisdom develops from living. Wisdom is realizing that someday you'll just be a memory to those that love you, and how important it is for that to be a good memory. And lastly, this lifelong development of wisdom should never prevent you from continuing to see the world through the eyes of a child. You should never lose that playfulness and wonder for this magnificent world that we live in. Like Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The invariable mark of wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common." So when should you start working on building your wisdom? Immediately. But recognize that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Wisdom comes from a continual look in the mirror, lifelong look in the mirror, continual self-actualization. Carl Jung said, "He who looks outside dreams, he who looks inside awakes." Socrates said, "A life unexamined is a life not worth living." You must always be looking at yourself and examining your life and living with a deep curiosity of everything in your life. Like Rumi said, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world, but today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself." I salute you, my friend, for taking the time to listen to this because you know you want to be the best version of yourself. I'm Rod Khleif, wishing you incredible passion and massive success in your business and in your life. And that's a life coupled with deep wisdom that you develop and share with those around you.